everyone, it's Teacher Algene again. How was your PSLE oral? I hope that you found the PSLE oral video that I made for you useful. I hope it came in handy. I hope you're going to do well for your PSLE oral. This video that I'm making right now for you is for your English paper 2. Okay, I'm going to focus on 2 areas, grammar and synthesis and transformation. Okay, so first and foremost, we start with grammar. All right, present tense. Okay, very simple. We're going to start from basic and then we're going to move up a little bit tougher. Okay, and of course, I'm going to go through, you know how we do it at Think Teach, right? We break down every single question into different question types and then we tackle those question types systematically. Okay, so the first one, of course, the first question type is tenses. All right, present tense, simple. Okay, always know that present tense it means that an action is still going on, it's still happening, right? So you look at the sample question here. The answer, of course, is Tom takes the bus to school every day because the action of taking the bus is still happening. All right, and of course, now for past tense means the action is completed, it's over, it's finished. Okay, so you see the action of Tom taking the bus to school has stopped last year. All right, right now, sorry, it didn't stop last year. Okay, it was happening last year, and right now, of course, it no longer happens because his mother sends him to school. All right, so obviously the answer is Tom took the bus to school last year. Okay, this should be quite simple, quite straightforward. All right, just know, okay, I'm going back to first principles here. Okay, so you need to know what present tense is, what past tense is. In your school exams in the PSLE, it's not going to be so straightforward. Okay, so you need to know exactly the definition of what a present tense is, what a past tense is. Okay, present perfect tense just means that the action started in the past, all right, and it continues, and it's still happening right now. Okay, present perfect tense requires your has or requires your have. Okay, you need to know that. Present perfect tense, a school's favorite. Okay, so Tom has taken the bus to school since he was young, right? So he started taking the bus when he was young, and it's still happening right now. He's still taking the bus to school today. Okay, so that's present perfect tense. Past perfect tense, I like to just say that past perfect tense means the action, all right? The action that is going to be in the past perfect tense, right, took place before the past, okay, or before the past tense. That's how I like to tell students that, so that's easy for them to remember. Okay, so right here, before Tom reached home, his mother had tidied up his room, okay, because the action of tidying up the room happened before Tom reached home. And because Tom reached home in the past tense, because of the word reached, right, tidy, the tidying up the room happened before reached. Reached is in the past tense, tidying up is here. Tidying up happened before the past, okay? And that is why it's past perfect tense. All right, this is just a little recap for you. Okay, so and after we're done with the tenses, of course, 5 senses rule, another one I always see this being tested, this 5 senses rule being tested, your sight, your touch, your hearing, your smell, for example. So just 2 simple questions. Okay, yesterday I saw Mr. Lim. Do not get fooled by the word yesterday. Do not look at yesterday and think that it is going to be in the past tense. Okay, it has to be drove. No, it's wrong. Okay, because you see saw, if saw is a 5 senses rule, right? It's part of your sight. So for 5 senses rule, saw will always follow base form, a base form word. All right, that means the word in its natural form. Okay, or a word with its ing form. Okay, so it could be I saw Mr. Lim drive his son to school, or you could also say I saw Mr. Lim driving his son to school. Because there is no ing, there's no driving, the answer is 1, drive. Okay. For 2, sitting under a coconut tree, Josiah felt again your 5 senses, so you know you have to follow with a base form of the word. Okay, so Josiah felt something fall on his head, okay, or falling on his head, but in this case, there is nothing. Anyway, you don't feel something falling. Okay, that doesn't make sense. So Josiah felt something fall on his head. Okay. After your 5 senses rule, we then move on to base form rule. Okay, so every time you see helped, led, made, demanded, these 4 words, you know for sure that you're going to pick the base form, the word in its natural form. Okay, so mother demanded that Tom tell her the truth. Tell is in its natural form. Okay, it's not tells, it's not in its past tense told, it's not telling. Okay, the second question, the teacher made her students, so you look at the word made, you know that made has to follow base form, so clean, made her students clean the classroom. I don't have to read on. All right, you should know that. Okay, this should be very simple. So every time you see helped, led, made, demanded, choose the word in its base form and you will get that question right. Okay, that's simple. Okay. After that, we move on to the distractor rule. Okay, so we know what the distractors are, right? Distractors, I just put some examples over there, as well as together with, except, including, in addition to. These are examples of distractors. Okay, so same thing here, where every time you see distractors, you know that you need to cancel out whatever that is distracting you. Okay, so, or whatever that, so in this case, of course, for the first question, what you're going to do is that you're going to cancel out together with his school team, his soccer school teammates, okay? And you only care about the subject that appears at the front of the sentence, which is Joseph, okay? So Joseph trains every Monday afternoon, all right? Joseph is your subject. You do not get distracted by soccer school teammates. Same thing for question 2 as well. I see the distractor except, okay, so I'm not going to look at James. I do not care about James. Right now, I only care about all the boys from primary 6. So all the boys from primary 6, we know definitely it's plural, right? Okay, so that means, and you know that it's present tense because every day, right? To play soccer during recess every day. Okay, so all the boys from primary 6 like to play soccer during recess every day. Okay, all the boys again is the subject. Okay, I or me rule, you should know that when you have questions that are asking you to choose between I or me, okay, all you need to know, of course, is to, again, it's the cancellation trick, okay? So same thing, mother scolded, right, my brother and blank for breaking her favorite vase. All right, mother scolded my brother and me. The answer is me. Why? Because you are going to cancel my brother and you're going to ask yourself which sounds right. Mother scolded I or mother scolded me, right? Which sounds right? You should know. Mother scolded me sounds right. And that is why the answer is me. My mother scolded my brother and me. Okay? So do the cancellation trick. Same thing for question 2. You are going to cancel my brother and again. All right? Cancel that and ask yourself which sounds right. I decided to surprise our mother or me decided to surprise our mother. Of course, I decided to surprise our mother is correct and therefore I is the answer. Okay, so I is the answer. My brother and I decided to surprise our mother with some flowers on her birthday. The second part is easy. Okay, so remember I or me, it requires the cancellation trick. Cancel what comes before the blank. My brother and cancel that part and ask yourself which sounds right. Okay, okay. Or and rule. Okay, again, same thing. If you encounter a question that is asking you to choose between or and, you remember, right? It is not true, right? That every time it is a vowel, it's and every time it is not a vowel, it's a. Okay, look at the first question, for example. The first question, honorable person, right? H, honorable starts with H. It's a non-vowel. However, the answer was considered an honorable person, right? That is the answer, right? Ask yourself why? Because honorable sounds like a vowel, right? Honor sounds like an O sound, honor, right? And because it sounds like a vowel, you choose an, considered an honorable person, okay? For question 2, right, same thing, U-turn, all right? U-turn, what does it sound like? It sounds like a non-vowel because it sounds like Y-O-U, right? U-turn, okay? So because it sounds like a non-vowel, you're going to choose a, right? Mr. Kumar will now have to make a U-turn at the road junction over there. Okay, so remember, it is what the word sounds like. If it sounds like a vowel, you are going to choose an. If it doesn't sound like a vowel, you're going to choose a. Okay, that is the or an rule. All right. Question tag rule, okay, which is basically your questions. All right, that's what I like to call it. You know, my students would know that. Right. So 3 questions for you because question tag rules always come out, right? Question tag rule always comes out. Okay, so the first thing you're going to look at whether or not there's any negative words in the question, right? So you're going to know negative words would be things like your rarely, barely, hardly, scarcely, never, not, you know, no one, all of that. Okay, I think seldom as well is also a negative word as well, right? Okay, so she rarely speaks with an accent. So you see the word rarely, you know automatically that's a negative. All right, so the left side is negative, the right side must be plus. Okay, so she rarely speaks with an accent. Does she? Okay, because this sentence obviously is in present tense because of the word speaks. So does she? All right, answer is 2. For the second part, none of them answered the question correctly. I see the word none, so I know again it is negative. So the left side is negative, the right side must be plus, right? So none of them answered the question correctly. Did they? Okay, did they answer is 1. Finally, this one is another question that surprisingly a lot of students get wrong. Okay, get this question wrong. So don't make this kind of mistakes. All right, I'm gonna read this one. All right, Susan baked the birthday cake for mother. All right, a lot of you surprisingly, I do not know why, would choose option 4. Okay, a lot of students actually choose option 4. Right, hasn't she? If you are gonna choose a hasn't, the word hasn't, right? Then there needs to be an has on the left side. So if the right side has a has not, right, the left side requires a has. I don't see a has in the left side, so it cannot follow with a has not. All right, so it has to follow with a didn't she? She baked the birthday cake for mother, didn't she? All right, so left side is plus because there is no negative word. So it has to be followed with a minus on the right side, which is didn't she? Okay, make sure you know that. Third conditionals rule. All right, there are quite a number of conditionals, but the most commonly tested conditionals is your third conditional. All right, third conditional is basically your if, had, would have, or would not have. Right, if I had known all of you would be late for class, I would not have come so early. All right, the if, of course, is optional. You can just say, had I known all of you would come late for class, right? Or if had I known all of you would be late for class, I would not have come so early. Okay, so if is optional, but just remember, if will follow had and will follow would have or would not have. Okay, so it's very simple. If she had known you were going to the party, she would have gone too. All right, the second part, if Richard had listened to his mother, he would not have lost his wallet. Super simple. Okay, take note, third conditional rule can also come up for synthesis and transformation. Okay, all right. So proximity rule. Proximity rule is really your neither nor either or. The subject, as I like to say, comes after the word nor or comes after the word or. Okay, in school, a lot of teachers like to say the subject is what is closest to the blank. Okay, so either way it works. Okay, so the first question, neither the boys nor Mr. Tan. So what comes after the nor? Mr. Tan. Therefore, Mr. Tan is the subject. Okay, neither the boys nor Mr. Tan knows where Nick is. Answer is 3. For question 2, same thing, right? What comes after the nor is her sisters. Okay, so that is the subject. Neither Becky nor her sisters are attending the performance later this evening. Okay, very simple. Proximity rule. Neither of rule, super simple, super straightforward. Every time you see neither of, automatically it is always singular. Remember that, okay? It comes out. All right, so neither of us is going to watch the fireworks tomorrow. All right, the second question, Siti and Irfan are busy revising for their exams. Neither of them wants to watch a movie now. Simple, okay? Every time you see neither of, choose the singular option, okay? Uncountable nouns, another school favorite, furniture, equipment, advice, luggage, garbage. All right, all these are examples of uncountable nouns. Uncountable nouns will always take the singular form. Okay, so all the garbage from the various households was cleared by the rubbish truck earlier. Okay, past tense because of earlier. All right, second question, all of the luggage, again, you want to choose a singular option, so was delivered to the collection point except the one that belonged to the elderly bespectacled man. Okay, simple. All right, you see uncountable nouns, you are going to lean towards the singular option. Okay, okay, I'm done. Right, those are all the commonly tested grammar rules. Of course, there are many other grammar rules. All right, but those are the more common ones. Okay, in addition to those common ones that I just covered, look at this screen right now. Okay, look at your screen. These are also super important also. Okay, so these are the other rules that you need to know. Okay, so for example, your lie, lay, lane, all right, and your lay, late, late. Make sure you know the difference. Okay, lying, of course, is when you are lying down. All right, and lay is when you are a chicken and you are laying an egg. Okay, so lie is the present tense, lay is the past tense, lane is the past participle. All right, for lay and egg, lay is the present tense, laid is the past tense, and laid also is the past participle. Make sure you know that. Okay, if this comes out for your exam, draw it out. Okay, write it out, lie, lay, lane, and lay, late, late. Okay, write it out on the question itself so that you can see it and you can choose the right option. Okay. Second one, of course, I prefer this to that. Okay, I rather this than that. Okay, make sure you know that, know the difference. Okay, prefer to rather than. All right, know the difference between and among. Between is between two people, among is 3 or more people. Okay, know that. No sooner had always follows than, THAN, not THEN. all right? THAN. It comes out for grammar. It can also come out for synthesis and transformation, okay? Take note of that. Make sure you know your unless, your although, and your despite, okay? Make sure you know those three. Relative pronouns as well, who, whom, which, and whose, okay? Make sure you know your relative pronouns and, of course, prepositions, all right? These are the other important rules to grammar, okay? Or of grammar that you need to know to prepare yourself adequately for the exam, okay? Finally, we move on to synthesis and transformation. All right, so synthesis and transformation, all I'm going to cover today is your direct speech to reported speech, because this is the question type that always comes up, okay? So TPTP, okay? These are the four things that you are going to change, right? From direct speech, when you're moving from direct speech to reported speech, or reported speech back to direct speech, you need to change tense, place, time, and pronoun. At Think Teach Academy, we teach students that this is called toilet paper, okay? Personally, as you know, the students whom I teach, you would know that I like to call it traffic police, because I'm always running away from traffic police, right? Getting fined by them all the time. So tense, place, time, and pronoun, all right? You should know how to approach direct speech to reported speech. The first thing you want to do, of course, look at the right-hand side, all right, is to identify the tense of the original question. Why is this important? Because depending on what the tense of the original question is, you are going to move back in time, right? From direct speech to reported speech, you are going to move back in time by 1. So if the original tense, or the tense of the original question, is in present tense, the reported speech will be in past tense, right? If the tense of the original question is in past tense, the reported speech will be in past perfect. Remember what I said about past perfect at the start of this video? Past perfect happens before the past tense, okay? All right? Then once you are done identifying the correct tense that you are going to use for your reported speech, all right, or your direct speech for that matter, okay, then you need to change T, P, and T and P, all right? Okay, so let's apply it to these questions. These questions, I selected them because a lot of students surprisingly get them wrong, okay? So let's look at them right now. The first one, where are you, Tom asked Jerry. Okay, so where are you? You should know it's in the present tense because of are. Are is in the present tense, all right? The only thing that you need to change is you, because you is a pronoun, okay? So, oh, and are as well, because are is tense, right? Okay, so then how are you going to report the speech? It's just Tom asked Jerry where he was, okay? You're changing was because present tense to past tense, okay? That is important. And you, of course, changes to he, okay? Because that is the pronoun that you change. Second one, where were you? Tom asked Jerry. Same thing, identify the tense. You are going to know immediately that this is past tense. So past tense, you need to move back in time. Past tense, you need to move back to past perfect tense. All right, so Tom asked Jerry where he had been. Okay, by the way, for this kind of questions, you are changing the question into a statement. So for example, let's go back to the first question again. Where are you? Right? You're not going to say Tom asked Jerry where was he. If you're going to say that, then it's another question. You're changing a question to another question. It doesn't make sense. All right, so you need to say where he was, changing a question into a statement. Okay, all right. Third question, do you know her? Tom asked Jerry. Again, you know because of the word do, it's present tense. So present tense, you need to change to past tense. All right, so Tom asked Jerry if he knew her. That's it. Finally, did you know her? Did is in the past tense. All right, so you want to change did to past perfect tense. All right, so Tom asked Jerry if he had known her. Now, do and did. So did is a very commonly tested kind of synthesis and transformation. Sorry, not synthesis and transformation, but reported speech kind of question. Okay. The reason being is because a lot of schools like to confuse students, like to trick students. They say that, oh, you know, students will not look at the word did. They'll look at the word know and think that know is in the present tense. So all they need to do is just change it to past tense. If you do that, you are wrong. Okay. Did here, you need to look at the word did, because did tells you that this original question is in the past tense. Okay. So make sure you know that did versus do. Okay. Finally, this is the last slide I have for you. These are just some questions, synthesis and transformation, reported speech questions that I would like you to take note of. Okay, so the first one, I saw this question by Rosai School last year. Okay, in their SA1. The question reads: the police shouted to the gangsters, "Come out now with your hands above your heads." Okay, when you report this speech, obviously you need to change the words in red, right? Come, now, your, and your. Okay, so the police instructed the gangsters to come changes to go. All right, go out, and then now changes to then. Your changes to there, because gangsters, right? Gangsters. So you need there and not his or her for that matter. Okay, so the police instructed the gangsters to go out then with their hands above their heads. Okay, so a little bit tricky because I think for this one, a lot of students did not change come. All right, they did not change come to go. Okay, so make sure you know that. Last two questions. The second question there we have from Raffles Girls. Okay, this one very tricky because they were trying to give a lot of self-doubt, right, to students. All right, because you don't really need to change much. You should exercise regularly is the original question. And the reported speech is just the doctor told her nephew that he should exercise regularly. There's hardly any changes. You only change you to he, of course, that's it, right? You don't change should, all right? Should goes back to should, okay? And finally, would, same thing. Would you mind returning the library books? All right, the only thing that you change is you. So my sister asked me if I would mind returning the library books. Nothing else changes. You don't change would as well. All right, would goes back to would, unless it is a will. Will would then change to would. Okay, but in this case, since the original question says would, you change to would as well in the reported speech. Okay, so take note of this. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to change everything. Okay, you need to know what you have to change. So TP would be your best friend. Okay, I come to the end of this video. All right, it's really just for grammar and synthesis and transformation. Again, I hope you found this beneficial and useful, right? Play my video again and again, play it to sleep as well. Okay, so that, you know, I want you to revise through it. Of course, in class, we will go through more rules and then we'll be more intensive as well. Okay, I'll try to make more of such videos to help you out along your examinations. Okay, I wish you all the best. Okay, good luck. I'll see you soon.